Oh, look at that. Childman second to none, strolling about in a carnival. How cute. Hello, my name is Goober and this is The Curse of Monkey Island. Or was it Araknie? Nah. But yes, here comes that third chapter of the ongoing Return to Monkey. It's proceeding alright, it's a whole process. I'll keep you posted. The game instead is about the immediate happenings of what went on after the previous ending. You go to Plunder Island as previously agreed and find Elaine and Chuck fighting, of course with words and insults, as real pirates do, about marriage. I don't think the undead idiot got the hint yet, so totally not by our mistake, she ends up with a cursed ring on her finger and gets coated in gold. Only a paint job, sorry, it's not much value. But hey, at least you're finally engaged with your love now. So, worth it? Anyway, it's up to us, and with us I mean you, to save Elaine from this curse and also yourself. I know I played the remakes, but this one was chronologically the first in the series to get a complete dub work on it, and they went above and beyond with it. The entire plot is voice acted, not leaving a single interaction unattended. That's pretty fantastically impressive. Remember, this was 1997? Just remember to not be post-impressed. Apparently this game it's that style. Just don't say I didn't warn ya. So how does it unravels? I don't know, it's not a map, it's code. You will have to travel through a few islands and get what you need and then defeat LeChuck. I mean, it's not really a spoiler. Did you really expect anything else?
Yes.
Well, too bad. Even if this time I'm just gonna say it, they should have just made 2 islands. The third one is very superfluous. There's only a location to visit in that place, so what else can you do? I really don't like when games do this. I can see a whole island but it's mostly empty. It's a waste. It's also a game that simplifies controls but allows for depth in a very interesting way. First of all, I have to commend it for being the first point-and-click adventure title that makes a real use of having an inventory. The game is the longest of the genre up until this point for this channel, so if it didn't, it wouldn't be a good representative of it. You have a touch, walk and talk commands, but they can change. They are context sensitive.
Context sensitive. Clever.
Meaning that they transform in other things like grab, push, examine, read, eat. They do so automatically, and all you have to take into consideration is figuring out the correct interaction to get a reaction. With only 3 commands, you get in reality the usual 9 from the previous 2 games, just hidden in a simplified UI that really helps you out. Great improvement that doesn't cut on the depth. Oh, don't worry about that. It's the most complex in the series, so you'll get to what you want if you are tired of replaying the first 2 entries having figured out everything in them. I also have another complaint regarding that. I find the first island you start with to be pretty weak dialogue-wise. Some jokes are really lame and some of the puzzles are kinda nonsense, Sierra style. It really feels like the presence of Ron Gilbert what was held together the franchise, but it gets better by the time you reach the second location. Blood Island is really full of the Monkey Island charm that I really craved, fortunately, truly bursting at the seams and making more than enough for the shortcomings previously experienced, and then some. But aside from that, it doesn't change much. Aside from also not having the flexibility of the puzzles known to LucasArts, unfortunately. Not being able to have a couple different solutions with the same object caught me off guard. Not disappointed greatly, but especially in one case I was truly baffled and I have to spoil it. There was a way to grow back after becoming a child again. Yes, it happens again. I needed to eat a peculiar snow cone, but the combination and the reason for anything was simply out of my grasp. A truly nonsensical Sierra-style puzzle, not a good sign. The rest of it is the usual gameplay, hard to say anything anymore. Aside from naval battles, they reintroduce in some fighting, but this time you need to rhyme because it's at sea. Obviously no. If you think about it, sea urchins don't travel on land. First of all, you need to stop ships by shooting cannons, and to do so you navigate this sea map. Then you engage them in battle, and when you manage to get them to stop, you can board them. But I'll let you figure out most of it since it was one of the very highlights of the entire playthrough. Instead, the only discussion that could be made all about the tech around it is one of praise. It's a purely hand-drawn game, with some help from an external studio for some of the computer graphics. But done really well. I think it was Ilem again, the same ones that did those space scenes in The Dig. Integrated in the art style, that will be the correct definition. I also like the color palette, finally feeling like a true voodoo adventure. I could look at this all day. It manages to be colorful without being bright. They for sure use a system similar to the cell animation used in movies. I know for sure an animator worked also on a Goofy movie, and his expertise shows, because there's plenty of in-betweens. Those are the connecting tissue of 2D games. They all together the major frames, making the transition between them smooth. Fantastic work. This will be timeless. Musically also was only the second time that LucasArts did employ a single composer for a game. Usually it was always a collaborative effort for some reason or another. This was the first time this series got only Michael Land, who got expertise on doing solo work on The Dig. In the past there was always 3 islands and Land did only one of them, but he did a fantastic job here. In being one of the 2 inventors of the iMuse system that got introduced with Monkey 2, it felt only fitting that the same guy worked with it. Surprisingly so, they decided to use the CD Dreadbook audio instead and scrapped any work with it. What he moved on to doing was musical stings for any single moment so that they could load and connect when needed, making a 90 plus pieces for the entire soundtrack. What an amazing amount of work. The other 2 offer some consulting work and a couple melodies each, but it was mostly solo. This allowed it to have a more cohesive identity and also get these real tiki vibes that I enjoyed plenty. It's very unusual that I like a soundtrack from a Western 90s game, especially a non-console one. Quality-wise is on par with the first Doom. That's very high praise coming from me, I guarantee you that. I've gotta give The Curse of Monkey Island an 8 out of 10 anyway because of its charm. It carries a lot of its mistakes on its shoulder and makes them into jokes. It has a lot of care and love put into it and clearly a last-ditch effort to convince the company that 2D gaming was still viable. Honestly, when developers just have a passion project, it speaks to me. I understand the struggle. If you wanna see play the games that I will review plus some extra stuff, catch me on Twitch at Araknie Retro. It's my natural habitat, you see? Until next time, ciao ciao!